We've got a new segment to introduce to you guys at the halfway point here, conveniently named Halfway Heaters. Halfway Heaters is where we are taking you guys' hot takes, your favorite hot takes between college football and NFL. They can be broad hot takes, or they can be about this weekend, or they can be about this weekend specifically. We got 3 really good ones for the first one here. If you guys want to be in this segment going forward, it will be every Tuesday from here on out. If you want to be in this segment going forward, leave your favorite hot takes down below, and we might get to them. You have until next Sunday to leave hot takes, so take your time, obviously. But let's get to halfway heaters here. First take we got: Michael Penix Jr. is the best lefty quarterback in college football history. To me, this one is scorching hot. When you look at a few other guys that he's going up against, you've got Tim Tebow, arguably one of the greatest college football players of all time. Zach, earlier you mentioned Steve Young. You've got Michael Vick.
Brigham Young.
You've got Michael Vick. You've got Matt Leinart out of USC. You got some
Tua Tagovailoa.
You got some.
That's what they didn't even mention before.
You got some iconic college football players there, most of which having won national championships, all of which having won Heismans. So for this one to be true, realistically, we need both of those out of Michael Penix Jr. this season. Because numbers-wise, I mean, he's there. He's absolutely lighting it up in passing yards and touchdowns.
He's definitely on pace to be
He doesn't really have interceptions. The dude is on pace to set a college football record for air yards per attempt. His air yards per attempt after that Oregon game, I believe, is hovering right around 23 air yards per attempt, which means he is attempting dang near 25-yard passes every single time he launches the ball, and clearly it's working. So there's a number there, but you need those accolades. If you want to be considered the greatest lefty in college football history, you need those accolades. You need that Heisman. You need that national championship. So this is a very hot one because I don't know if he gets those.
Yeah.
Heisman's
definitely
obtainable.
A hot one to start it. Heisman's definitely attainable, and I wouldn't write him off yet. Obviously, I mean, you're not writing him off at all for the national championship.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got a tough schedule to get to the final championship. But I mean, Tua was one I didn't even think about. Shout out to Joe. That Tua was good.
We love that.
He hit good in the second half in his first ever playing time in Alabama.
And
the second half of a national championship game and won.
That's dog.
We're not going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa like that. Are you serious?
Yeah,
come on, man. Come on.
And then I'll give a shout out to Nebraska fans. Dave Hum. No one's probably heard of this guy except for your Nebraska fans.
Zach did his research.
In 1974. He had 54 total touchdowns, 5,236 passing yards, and finished his career with over 5,000 rushing yards, adding another 18 rushing touchdowns.
I would say this one is scorching hot, but give me that Heisman, give me that Natty. We might revisit it. Number two here.
Big accolades, sure.
Second hot take. The NFC is currently better than the AFC. I'm going to give this one a little over lukewarm, simply because of how teams currently are, but it's a hard one to argue when you look at the fact that the AFC has dominated Super Bowls as of late. And as of a couple, decades now? I mean, you had the Patriots killing it. You had
because and then you had Mahomes come in and
you had Mahomes come in. So this is a really, really tough one. But you look at current, you've got the Eagles, you've got the Niners, you've got Detroit. I was getting there. You've got Detroit. I mean, you've got 3 of the league's top teams right now sitting right there in the NFC. 3 of your top 4 Super Bowl odds are also sitting there right in the NFC.
Yeah, and one of the other big things is going into this year, everyone's like, oh, all the top quarterbacks are in the AFC. And then you got guys like Jalen Hurts who are performing at MVP level. You got Brock Purdy performing at MVP level. You got Jared Goff performing at what could be an MVP level.
Easily.
And you got Matt Stafford who's shaky, but he's been good. And then to flip it to the AFC, you got You got Patrick Mahomes who's having a down year because he's not. The offense just hasn't been as explosive. Justin Herbert really hasn't done much. Trevor Lawrence has looked shaky at times. I think there's a serious argument that NFC is currently better than the AFC, and I think they will be at the end of the season too.
I agree, but I also disagree. I will say this. I think AFC defenses have kind of emerged more than the NFC defenses, especially this year. Just off the top of my head, the Browns just beat the Niners. That's AFC North. The Ravens AFC North team, they just beat the Titans.
Steelers.
Big L. Steelers didn't play this week. We don't care about the Steelers.
Either way, the whole AFC North.
The Bengals are finally starting. They're finally starting to figure it out. Their defense is playing good.
Their defense is really good.
Their offense is playing well. They're playing good. The Jets are another team that have just an outstanding, ridiculously good defense. I give it to the NFC because they have the top, more top teams, more of the, we've won more than 3 games this year. But
so maybe it's a little hotter than lukewarm. Maybe it's a little hotter than lukewarm. We'll see at that Super Bowl. We'll see at that Super Bowl. We'll see how records continue to unfold. We got number 3 here. This is a very, very interesting one to me, and it's really, really tough to determine now, especially with what happened this weekend. Anthony Richardson will end up becoming the best quarterback out of this draft. This is a very tough one to look at right now because of Anthony Richardson's injuries. But when you take out their averages, put it over a 17-game season, him and CJ Stroud is obviously who I'm referring to here. Take out their averages, put it into a 17-game season, they're right on par. Anthony Richardson clearly outputs wins just as much as CJ Stroud does. He impacts his offense just as much as CJ Stroud does. I'm sorry, longevity is a big piece to a quarterback. If you can't stay healthy, you're not your team's quarterback anyway. So Anthony Richardson's going to have to adjust his play style a little bit. He's out 4 to 6 weeks right now, I believe, with a concussion on top of a shoulder injury, which is just has something else.
Poor guy's had it rough at the beginning of his career.
But it's just a tough one. Statistically, it's maybe there. It's maybe there when you take the numbers out to a full season. But he's not going to get to play a full season because of his play style. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's not a now decision anyway. There's seasons and seasons to play.
I've heard rumblings that they're thinking about, or he's thinking about shutting himself down for the whole year to get reconstructive surgery on his shoulder, on some ligament or something. They initially said it was a grade 3 sprain in his shoulder that was going to be causing him to be out for a little while, and they said that there was probably no way that there was probably going to be surgery. But this last, a day ago, 2 days ago, somebody came out and said that he was probably going to have surgery, and it might be season-ending surgery. That being said, CJ Stroud is on the field. Yeah. CJ Stroud is playing. CJ Stroud is winning ball games with the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm. They look good.
It's too early to tell, obviously. Yeah. Too early to tell. But I agree with Ethan on the longevity and the consistency. You have to be able to play a whole game. He has yet to finish a game in the NFL.
This one to me is scorching hot. Scorching.
Yeah. And honestly, I think, one that we're not really talking about because, it hasn't looked super great. But, Bryce Young, he's shown flashes of being a very good quarterback. I think he's in a very terrible organization, so it's very hard to look good. And he has shown flashes. I say that after he just got pummeled by the Lions. But, he's shown flashes where he can be a very good quarterback. And, he's got the mobility and everything like that. But, I think it'll definitely be between Richardson and Stroud.
Bryce Young is literally playing on the Vikings without Justin Jefferson is literally his team situation.